I don't know how to start a video, but I'm Hootless, and this is Factorio episode... something. 11? Somewhere in there. Sorry about the lack of video yesterday. I ended up not having time to put one together, so it's gonna continue as normal starting today. Hopefully. I'm still working out what series to put in the 4 PM slot because, like I've mentioned in a few videos now, Dark Souls isn't going to work because of issues with controls and lack of controller. So yeah, that's basically it. I covered that mostly in the Star Drop episode for today, which was episode 17. So let's just talk about Factorio. So we're putting together Blue Pack production, like finally actually at last getting blue packs on a belt being created. It's not nearly enough blue packs, of course, because they take forever to put together, and we need a lot of them. But it'll do for now. As we get further in, I'm going to start optimizing it and making it so that we have more assemblers creating blue packs. Probably just mirror the setup on the other side or something. But we definitely... Oh, the yawns, every time. Only when I start recording, and at no other point do I yawn. So, our blue packs, we will need more. They kind of pile up here for a little bit after I get the things actually put together. But they only pile up because... What did I... Oh right, I brought down the advanced circuits. Put them onto the same line as the filter inserters. And that was that, basically. I was gonna run them out in front at first, and then I was like, actually, it's way better to just put them down here. So, that's pretty much where we're sitting at right now. I finally have blue packs. They start to pile up, but they're only piling up because we aren't actually using them right away. We're researching inserter capacity bonus, and a few other small things that don't require blue packs. However, the first thing that we research that does require blue packs is the logistics network, and that one is quite a doozy, requiring more than 100 blue packs, I believe. However, once that's all set up, we can start optimizing our factory and shrinking things down, and just sort of in general, that'll be a very good thing. The added benefit of using the logistics network, because I started talking about this last video, I think, you can set up chests, the requester chests, and you can set how many items you want to keep in there. So as long as you keep, like, you know, at least 2 times the materials required, maybe even 3 times the materials required in the chest for whatever crafting thing you're doing, then you don't really, like, it doesn't matter where it is, as long as the robots have time to carry everything over there in between each creation of the thing. So if something only takes, you know, half a second, you probably want to store more in there, rather than storing, you know, like, only 2 times, especially if it's far away from where your iron is, because the robots just won't have time to move everything over there. And it becomes sort of a game in and of itself, just trying to balance all the robots and their positions, and all the resources required for various crafting things, so that you can continue being as efficient as possible. For now, though, I'm setting up various systems still. That refinery right there is turning heavy oil into lubricant and then storing it in the tank that I'm standing next to, or at least I was standing next to. And I'm using that, along with this whole area. I start setting up like a little mini factory assembly line on the left here next to that tank of lubricant. And what it's for is I'm going to set up automating the production of electric engines. And electric engines require a lot of things, but specifically they require like engines and lubricant, I think. I don't think they require anything other than engines and lubricant. Maybe like one thing, like electronic circuits or something. So I have to set up like iron mining over there and copper mining and smelting both the iron and the copper if I don't want to bring over iron and copper. And bringing over iron and copper would be a little bit of a pain because it's so far off to the left. I guess I could do it. It would just be probably more convenient to do it this way. Or I could even move the heavy oil using pipes up to a more convenient location. But I've decided to put it there, for whatever reason. I could probably even get away with putting it right above the iron smelting line, because there is both copper and iron up there. Or I could put it down next to the battery production area, because copper and iron are down there, and that's what I need. But if I don't do that, then I have to create everything on location, and that means a whole bunch of crafting things, and I didn't even consider putting it somewhere more convenient. So, for the next 11 minutes, we're going to watch as I put together a system that ultimately I will move somewhere else when it becomes more convenient, probably in the next episode. Also, I set up some more power production, because we do need more power production. We were starting to get to the point where we just didn't have enough power to run everything. I put down all of the engines here, or half the engines, and then realized that, no, I guess I do put them all down. And then I realized I have to actually put down boilers to be able to heat up the water before the water goes into the engines. Otherwise, the steam engines just don't do anything. And then they would be sitting there being a waste. So I sort of loop the coal through here, make an underground belt so that it can get to behind the system. Because I made the system rather tight. And that's not what you want. Not when you need to extend it sometimes, and you make the system completely unable to be extended, basically. I'm not sure how boilers work with hot water. I don't know how hot water works in general. Like, it's 14 boilers, I believe, like maybe 13 or 14 boilers to 10 engines. And if you do that, it gets enough hot water as long as you provide the water from a pump. And I think a pump, like an offshore pump, only provides the water for 10 engines. I don't think it gives any more. But I don't know, for example, if you can make a line of 26 boilers and have it support 20 engines. Like, I don't know if that's how it works. I'll probably have to experiment with that at some point, because it would probably be slightly more useful. It wouldn't really make a difference, I guess, to go from splitting it up to putting it all together. The only thing that would change is if one of the boilers gets destroyed, like one of the really early boilers gets destroyed, then the entire system would go down. Which would happen anyways, really. But it turns it into 2 systems instead of 1, so, you know, 2 early boilers would have to be destroyed at different places for it to be able to shut everything down. And the biters have been getting a little feisty, so I might have to go and try to turret creep one of their bases. The only problem with that is they are starting to get kind of evolved, so it's becoming more and more dangerous for me to attempt an attack on them. What might help is if I start researching into military some more, and get armor-piercing bullets being created automatically, and maybe just creating some grenades automatically, or even just creating some grenades by hand and taking them with me, just so that I can deal with the biters a little bit better, because the biters will be an issue very soon. I'm starting to put together the crafting system over here as well. I don't think I ever fixed the underground belts, because I moved the turrets from right next to the iron mining to just out past the iron line over there. And I don't think I ever change it from having underground belts there to being straight belts, because I don't need the turrets anymore at that point. Not to mention, I also put down another underground belt making it go under there, so there's just a bunch of redundant underground belts here. I don't think they're redundant, actually. It's just useless. Ones that are not required. Superfluous, there we go, that's the word. So I do set up some iron smelting. It's just a simple little smelting? Yes, exactly, Brain, thank you. Simple little smelting process. I have two iron furnaces going. One iron furnace is just keeping the iron in it. The other iron furnace is feeding into a furnace for steel. And then that way I can get the steel that I need for engines, because steels are like, I believe they require iron gear wheels, iron plates, and steel. It might be like iron gear wheels, iron pipes, and steel plates. Something like that. Either way, they're fairly expensive to make, relatively speaking. I mean, it's not hard to get iron. It is basically an unlimited resource for a long time. The only issue is having to also smelt some copper, and then we have to turn the copper into copper wire for electronic circuits, which requires more iron plates, and there's just a whole bunch of iron that goes into making electric engines, basically. But we need electric engines so that we can make robot frames, like the flying robot frames, and then we can start making logistics bots. It's not a whole lot of extra work, I don't think, beyond making the robot frames to turn them into logistics robots. I don't remember exactly what items are required, and I don't think we can actually... No, we can definitely make them already because we researched the logistics robots tech. But as you can see in the top corner, we're researching logistics system now, and that will allow us to build provider chests, or active provider chests, storage chests, and requester chests. And it's with that that we will be able to start taking apart our factory and putting it back together in a more efficient way. Which seems like it's kind of a waste. Like, you know, why wouldn't you just make your factory capable of being switched to logistics robots right away? And that's because it takes a lot of planning to be able to do that. And, like, you have to know exactly how you want it set up for robots before you have robots, which makes it not exactly the most efficient way to do it with belts, because, you know, when you can have robots deliver everything, you can crush everything down, you don't have to have a whole lot of spaces between everything, and you can just use basically every tile. But if you're using belts, then, you know, you can't have things right next to each other, because it just doesn't make sense to have things next to each other on the belts, and you don't have enough room because you have to have multiple belts going through, and it just becomes a whole ordeal. So it's much better to just do whatever makes it efficient going into the later game, and then when you get the logistics bots, just go ahead and tear everything down, restructure. I do it in pretty much every factory that I make. I eventually get to the point where I'm like, okay, time to tear everything down and just put it back together in a better way. The main points at which I do that are, it's typically when I get logistics bots, I'll do it, and sometimes also when I get the, like, electric energy distribution tech, which is, you know, you get better power pulls. I've had that for a while now. Normally when I get that, I'll restructure as well, just because it lets me do things better. That one's not a full restructure. I just go around replacing any power cords that I can, upgrading from the small poles to the medium poles at least. I put some walls around my turrets here just to try and deter biters, because the biter attacks on that side have been getting really big. So I've been trying, at that point I was trying to just stop the biters from getting to the turrets, so that the turrets had slightly more time to be able to fight the biters off. It works a little bit. One of the next attacks that happens actually destroys one of the walls, like just one tile of wall. And fortunately it was a corner piece, so it didn't actually allow the biters to get inside, but it was a good thing that I actually set it up that way. So we get some copper here. Oh, always with the yawns, I don't know why. We set up the copper, we put down more furnaces, and we sort of like loop the coal over and all that good stuff. And yeah, that's basically it. I mean, we are processing copper, because like I said, I didn't want to put it over next to the existing copper and iron for whatever reason. It wasn't that I thought the strain would be too heavy on the system, because we do already have like a lot of copper and iron and everything passing through. It's just that I decided not to do it for whatever reason. So I changed around how the underground belts work here. like just move them. And there's logistics system finished, so next I research lab research speed 1. Just so that our packs can go a little bit further. It doesn't help all that much, but like by the time you get to the later lab research text, it's pretty good. It never ends up adding up to like a whole lot, I don't think, but it does help increase the speed. And really, efficiency is the name of the game, other than Factorio being the name of the game. The name of the game is also efficiency. We might set down a third set of boilers. My turrets ran out of ammo there, which is why the biters managed to destroy a wall. But I put in about 50 clips in each turret this time. And I repaired everything because I've been carrying around repair packs on me, just as a habit. Just because I did turn up the biter settings on this world, so I expected quite a lot of biters everywhere, basically. Coming up on the end of the video, though, excuse me, I forgot how to English for a second. If you're enjoying this series, leave a like, leave a comment below. If you want to see more, subscribe, because there will be more. And I'll see you guys all next time.